Okay, I think that we can start. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining to this fifth module of the virtual training program, Digital and Media Literacy Skills for Young Leaders. As you know, this is an Erasmus Plus project that is implemented together with our partners for Greece. Together with us here are two amazing lecturers, and we are happy to have them today with us. First, I'm giving the floor to Professor Dimoulas and then to Professor Babic to share their thoughts about this interesting topic, transmedia storytelling. I made you a co-host, and you can share the screens with us.
Okay, I suppose I will start.
Yes, please feel free.
Okay. Thank you all for being here. My name is Haralabos Dimoulas. I'm associate professor at the University of Thessaloniki, the Aristotle University of Thessaloniki, and today we are going to discuss about the audiovisual creation and storytelling, and then I suppose you will have the opportunity to see the elaboration with the transmedia storytelling. Let me share audio as well because we will need it. And please, if you can, I think some microphones are open and I have some background noise on my ear, so I would appreciate if the microphone is closed.
Yes, I will mute everyone that are not muted. Sorry for that, but just to have a smooth implementation.
In general, I would say that anyone that wants to make a question, please stop me, ask directly, because in the first part of this presentation we are going to have some technical aspects of audiovisual creation and storytelling. So without further delays, let's move to our presentation. We're going to discuss about some basic definition about multimedia and storytelling, some quick historical background. We will discuss about technology. We will show some indicative tools that someone could use to deploy such creative aspects. We are going to discuss about the role of multimedia production and the role that young researchers and creators should have in these production teams, which is highly interdisciplinary production teams. So there is no need for someone to be a technology expert or a programmer or a developer to be part of such teams. I think this is very important, and I think that we will have the opportunity to clarify things out concerning these aspects. And of course, we'll have some quick examples. I suppose that my colleague will show you more specific examples concerning transmedia storytelling. In all cases, we are talking about mediated communication through machines like the one that we're experiencing right now. We have the Zoom platform, we have our cameras, our microphones, so all information has to be recorded by the sensors, compressed and sent to the other end, and then we'll have two-way communication. We have the feedback. But before we go there, there are some aspects that affect quality, and not only quality, also the aesthetics of the communication and the willingness of the subject to get involved in such kind of communications. There are a lot of benefits. First of all, this type of communication relies on audiovisual information. It is the way that we human beings have been used to discuss, to communicate, to learn, and so it is important that this archetypal kind of communication can be delivered through distances with the use of technology. And of course, younger people is early familiarized with information and communication technology, so it is easier for them to be involved in this process. However, this has been reflected in the related research findings, showing that visual content is more attractive, more appealing, so that news articles that containing visual information, images mostly, have have received more readiness, are more frequently read by the audience, and the numbers here, 94% is really high. According to biology, a 70% of human sensing concerns the visual system, the human eye system. But since I am coming from an audio laboratory of electroacoustics and TV systems, I would like to point out that audio track is very important, and there is an old saying that sound is more than half of the picture. So it is important to have, especially when it comes to storytelling, to have in our minds that it's not the image that counts. We also have to shape our sound at the necessary quality of experience levels. So I will proceed. As I said, whenever you think that there is something you cannot comprehend, please stop me and ask. Don't worry, I will answer anything. So we know there is an old Chinese saying that a picture worth 1,000 words. So with the visual information, it is easier to comprehend the meanings of the various topics. And it is so important that nowadays we have new trends like the visualization, data visualization techniques, in which text can be summarized through visualizations, like the one, the tag cloud that we are seeing on the right side of the presentation, in which letters have been arranged in a visual presentation with the semiotics that the larger the fonts, the more important or the more frequent the term is used in a text. So instead of someone reading a text, let's say a couple of pages, he can have a quick summarization like this one to get a quick picture to see if this article is interesting to him or to her, and then to proceed further with a typical reading. Of course, reading is very important, and we cannot change reading with audiovisual information. Okay, however, we have some difficulties also, some demands. It's not accidental that while the internet and specifically World Wide Web is been here for about 2 decades, audio and video information was not always present in the web. It took some time for multimedia material, for audiovisual content to be compressed and for the network infrastructures to have high network speed, so that visual transmission would become a reality nowadays. Back in the beginning of 2000, it was not so common to have communication like the one we are experiencing. We have to move on a specific center with high network speed, with specific equipment, with specific hardware acceleration for making the compression and all this overhead possible, and so on. So today we are in the age that these facilities are for granted. We have the demanding network speed and the storage capacities and the processing power to have all this information, because, as you probably understand, audiovisual information contains more information, so this information has to be treated. Compared to text, there are much more information in the video content. So apart from the vividness of the presentation, the value of the information, someone has to do the dirty job. Someone has to compress all this information and to encode it in suitable ways to send to the recipients. So this is why we didn't go so far quicker with the video. And the first web pages were basically containing text and low resolution images. Speaking of resolution, I will show you one or two video clip in total. I think this one are interesting. It is I think it's useful to have understanding of how resolution on an image or on a video matters. So let's get a look at this video.
These days, we're all photographers. We take digital photos with cameras, phones, and even computers. And some of us love to share them in printed form or on websites. But getting the most out of digital images means understanding how they work. Neil just started learning about photography, and for now, he's just using the camera on his phone. Recently, he took a photo that was his best work. He envisioned a big version of it on his wall for all to see. So, he saved it and took it to a photo center to have it printed. After taking a look, the photo guy showed him the options. The largest size he could print for this photo was 4 by 6. 6 feet wide seemed big enough to Neil. But the photo guy apologized with a chuckle. He meant 4 by 6 inches. Neil was crushed. The photo looked so good on his phone. He didn't understand why this photo couldn't be enlarged. Seeing his despair, the photo guy gave him a little lesson in digital images. Strangely, he started with blankets, just like at Grandma's house. He said to imagine a blanket that's 4 feet by 4 feet. When someone knitted that blanket, they used 8 packs of yarn. When the blanket is this size, it looks great and keeps you warm because the yarn is packed tightly together. But when you stretch it out to 6 feet by 6 feet, you can see the holes and it stops looking so warm. Stretch it even more and it looks more like a net than a blanket. His point was that yarn matters. Only blankets made from a lot of yarn can be stretched without becoming useless. He then explained that Neil's photo is like a blanket with too little yarn. He could stretch the image and make it bigger, but it would start to look blurry. This is because, like blankets made of yarn, digital photos are made of pixels. These are tiny bits of color that make up the image. When the pixels are stretched, the image quality suffers. After a bit of research, Neil found that his camera phone has a...
This is not really important. The important thing here is to understand why resolution is important. As we can see on the right side of the presentation, in the lower image, we have more pixels, higher resolution, so we can more accurately draw the actual content, while in the top image we have fewer pixels, so the quality suffers. The same applies for audio and video. Some quick theoretical background. I won't bother you a lot. Here we have the full image. Here we have a zoom portion of a zoomed area of the image. We can see the pixels. Each pixel is the tiny piece of information that has a specific color. Now, the color palette that an image uses depends on how many bits we use to encode this color. As you know, 1 bit they can have 2 values, 0 or 1. So by combining multiple bits, we can have we can set up a whole palette of colors. And in our quick lesson here, we have 24 times, let's say, which makes about 16 million colors. Which is the today's quality of images. Most computer screens and most images nowadays are using 24 bits, which offer 16 million colors, which actually are comparable to the capacities of the human eye and the human vision system. So it's difficult for one to tell which projection is better, the physical one or the synthetic one. So this is how digital content works. So we have to split the information into tiny little pieces of information, which is the pixels, and each pixel is composed of bits and so on. The same principle also applies to audio. We have the analog waveforms, we have some sampling operations, so we have the audio samples, which is the corresponding to the pixels, and each sample can have a number of values dependent of how many bits it uses. Today we have 16 bits, which makes about 65,000 values of audio amplitude, which is about 96 decibel, which is equivalent to the way that we human beings hear. This is the dynamic range that we human beings are actually here. The limits between the maximum level and the minimum level that a human can tell. But today's capabilities can reach up to 144 decibels, which is overqualified for the simple audience, but it is nice to have such high rated values when it comes to studio processing. So I will go quick to the video. Video is the combination of many images and audio. An important aspect that we can say here is that what is the difference between progressive and interlace scanning? When we're talking about motion pictures, about video sequences, each picture is composed through this process that is called scanning. There are two main ways for creating such images through scanning. The first one is by scanning line by line, leaving one line left. It is a big discussion on how this invented and why this technique was launched, but the truth is that the time that TV was invented, we didn't have so much storage capacities and so much processing power to have scanning with each line follows the next one and so on. So in the progressive scanning, we have line 1, line 2, line 3, and so on, while in the interlace scanning, we have line by line. We leave one line out and we go to 1, 3, 5, 7, and so on. And then we go to 2, 4, 6, 8, and so on. So when you see a video on YouTube having this little mark P or I, you now will know that P refers to progressive scanning and I refers to interlace scanning. And if you want a quick tip, when you are about to film a material that has high motion, let's say a sports game or a car racing and so on, it is preferable to use the progressive scanning method because between two successive scannings of odd and even rows, the topic, the themes, the idols may have a little bit changed, so we have some flickering operations. Let's say that we are currently finalizing theory. The next big thing of audiovisual content was content compression. As I said in the beginning, we have huge volumes of information when it comes to audiovisual content. So we had to narrow down these volumes, these sizes. Actually, we utilized the mechanisms that we human beings also utilize because the human brain needs to not to spend all of his power by processing images. So one important aspect of images and video is the spatial redundancy. There are homogeneous areas with the exact same information. So one thing to reduce information, to reduce size of content is to detect these areas, and instead of sending, let's say, too many pixels for all this information, to group this area and say all this area has pretty much the same color. This is the spatial redundancy mechanism that the JPEG encoding utilizes. And when we moved to video, researchers realized that apart from spatial redundancies, we also have temporal redundancies. A journalist, a news reporter, when newscasting stories, his or her background does not change a lot, so we can save a lot of data by checking when motion appears, and in cases that motion does not is not present, then we can save data by pointing to the information that we sent in the past. So when we don't have movements, we say that the information remains identical, is the same with the previous frame, but when motion appears, then the algorithm tries to search where these previous blocks have been transferred. So this is a way that the combination of the spatial and spatiotemporal redundancy, which is the mechanism that MPEG utilizes, we can have the volume of audiovisual content decreased by hundreds of times. It is not a small number. Okay, otherwise we wouldn't be able to make this conversation right now if we didn't have the compression. And the next step was the object. The idea here is, apart from finding similarities in space and time, is to detect specific objects, the background object, the skier object, the flag object, and so on. So each of these objects are temporally encoded, and instead of sending the same information over and over again, we can save information by having locally stored the object and just make the adjustments. This is pretty much the idea. I do not expect, if you haven't previous experience on that aspects, to get a full comprehension of these matters, but my intention here is to have a quick view, a quick approach to separate how compression is conducted. And of course, we have audio. In audio, things are simpler because we have the human hearing, in which when some low frequencies, some bass sounds are present, some other frequencies, some tonal sounds are masked, are not heard. So the idea here is sounds that are not heard can be cut off. So we save some data in this perspective, and pretty much we have finished with the theory, and now we will start to discuss about some dilemmas. Nowadays, as I said many times, we had the needed computational power, the storage capacities, and the bandwidth to deliver content. We also have social media and platforms that every user can easily generate content. So we have the so-called user-generated content. So the volumes of information that are produced and shared every day are huge. And an old saying says that much information equals no information. So if you have too many videos and we don't know where these videos are located or what is the content of these videos, is the same as we don't have any of these files. So the media asset management automations appear, which is the idea to be able to understand what is behind the content, what is the topic of the content, what is the colors of the content, what is the thematic entity of the content, and so on. And this is why we nowadays discuss about big data, because we have huge volumes of information that everyone produces. Today we have mobile devices. Each of these devices is equipped with audiovisual sensors. Anyone can easily create audio and video. The devices are networked, are connected to some network, so you can easily upload content. So it is very important to be able to manage all this content. It's not accidental that the MPEG group, the Motion Pictures Expert Group, followed a similar course. In the beginning, was interested about compression, so MPEG 1, 2, and 4 standards were created. Then they moved to MPEG 7, which is a management protocol, a multimedia content description interface. The idea of being able to separate what kind of content is stored to whatever file, and the MPEG 21 framework, which attempts to join these two, let's say, standards, so that each one that we have a video asset or an audio asset, or in general a multimedia asset, to be able to tell how this content has been produced, what it involves, what are the user rights, and what is the encoding and decoding tools that we need to be able to reproduce this content. So I would need a volunteer here. Anyone? Don't worry, please open your microphone and start reading this card. No one?
I can try. Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Hi. According to a research at Cambridge University, it doesn't matter in what order the letters in a word are. The only important thing is that the first and last letter be at the right place.
Okay,
The
thank
rest-
you.
Oh,
That is enough. Was
Okay.
it difficult for you to read this sentence?
no.
No.
Not really.
What is the meaning of this little experiment? The meaning is that we don't have to process all the piece of information in the exact same order. We don't have for the brain to analyze all the pixels of an image in order to be able to understand that this is a tree. And this is how machine learning engages, tries to find this rough description, these features of the content, which would allow us to tell, look, this is a tree. And if the news article that has this picture has the word pollution many times, the most likely it is an article that focuses on environmental journalism or on science journalism and so on. So by combining the visual content and the surrounding text, we are able to tell what the content is about. We are able to understand the content, to recognize the content, to semantically conceptualize the content. The same way that we grew up without anyone make us a lesson what is a glass and what is a cup. At least for my concern, I cannot recall that someone taught me this is a glass or this is a fork and so on. The idea was that anyone show us these objects and refer to those objects by the names. The same way in machine learning and deep learning, we are trying to provide to the machine, to the computer, with many samples, with known labels. This is a tree, this is a ball, this is a sea, and so on. And then the machine tries to find the patterns that separate, let's say, spoons from forks and so on. Pretty much the idea, because we are talking about the semantics, we are talking about the new media aspects, and I think it is important for someone to understand what lays behind the term semantics. So let's go to more easygoing things. Who can tell me what is multimedia, or what the term multimedia refers to? Because it is a buzzword, but I encountered this in my physical classes in the university. When I ask what is multimedia, usually I do not get the right answer. Most of the students try to describe what is multimedia by saying what is not multimedia. Anyone that would like to try?
I would like to try, but I can't raise my hand. I don't know how to do
No.
it. Can I tell?
Go on, yes, no problem.
Yes, so I think that multimedia is like everything that allows us to release press for something, like the social media, the television, printed media, everything that allows us to tell some news, to press release for something.
Yes, but why we don't call them news and television, as you said? Is there any different in that perspective? What makes multimedia so special or less special? What is the way that differentiates multimedia from other perspectives? Yes, Oli. Please.
Well, multi means a lot of media. Usually it's a picture, image, sound, and we get a lot of information, a lot of images, pictures, text put together, and we get multimedia. I think
Perfect.
it's like a combination of two words.
Yes, thank you both for your answer and your contribution. The idea is that we have multiple content entities, multiple types of information that all together provide a new reality that can be used to make news press, as we heard in the beginning. But apart from the items that are depicted here in the cloud, which is the audio, video, the graphics, as you correctly said, there is another important aspect that make multimedia and storytelling so special. Anyone? I will help.
Well, usually we use multimedia to tell a story, according to this storytelling.
Yes, but also a part of telling a story, because you could tell a story through video, okay, through TV, through
Yes.
through YouTube, you can tell a story, but here we have the possibility to make interactions. So we can have interactive videos. So in the multimedia, apart from the multiple content types, you have also the human-machine interaction. You have the graphical user interfaces through which users can engage in the storyline and can select their preferred part of the story. Okay, so this is what makes digital or multimedia storytelling so special nowadays, because you don't have the case that you're going to the movie and you see in a linear way the movie, but you can select where to go and so on. Is clear to anyone? Yes? So when we had linear storytelling, when you can read a book or you can see a movie in a linear way, first chapter first, second chapter second, and so on. In the non-linear storytelling, you have the option of choosing the navigation paths. So apparently you need some user interface to make these interactions, and we are generally talking about a computerized system because all these interactions, all these options should be hosted somewhere. So we need a computerized system. Either the system would be a web server or a mobile device, or the older days, a info kiosk, which was a desktop computer with some touch screens and so on. So we have, of course, new trends nowadays. A part of the interactions and the multiple types, we have mobile media, and one of the new trends is the XR media, which is the extended reality media, in which we can augment the physical world. Here we have the example of augmented reality, in which we use the mobile phone to augment a physical surrounding, or we use the physical world to augment the virtual world through the augmented virtuality approach. We can see here a very good example of a news behavior. Actually, researchers are trying to reinvent, to re-engage audience with the paper, with the news printed in paper. The problem is that the paper cannot reproduce video, so it has less resources compared to the website, to the web editions. So the idea here is to provide some QR codes, letting the mobile device to retrieve and play back some audio, some video, and some other stuff. So it is important to discuss about the mobile journalism. The mobile journalism is the trend of using mobile devices, especially for reporters, for journalists, to create and publish content. So the mobile device is the old pencil that the news reporter had at hand. And in addition to that, we have some new utilities, some new experiences in which we use our mobile device as an interface between the physical and the virtual world. I have another video here, but I think it's 2 minutes. Let's have a look, quick look. I won't finish it. I think we're enough with, we're good. We're getting good with time. So
I think we can all agree that reality is pretty great. It's what we experience through our senses, like our eyes, and phones with cameras. The internet is awesome too, but the internet and reality have a hard time working together. Thankfully, this is changing quickly. New tools mean that the world around you can now be seen with a layer of new information from the internet. This is augmented reality, explained by Commoncraft. If you've ever seen a movie with a fighter pilot, you've seen the pilot's view from the cockpit. But something's missing. The pilot needs a layer of information that adds useful items to his view of reality. Recently, this kind of layer started working on your smartphone. But instead of flight data, you have data about the world around you. It's augmented reality. Let's say you're hungry and at a busy intersection. There are multiple restaurants around you, but you don't have a good way to make the decision. Now, thanks to new software on mobile phones, you can simply point your phone's camera at buildings around you, and voila! Restaurants are magically recognized, and a layer of information about the restaurant appears on the screen.
I think you get the point. You got the point. So I want. I think it is important to have to leave some time for the next speaker as well. So I'm a little bit anxious about that. So
I think
here we have some generals of journalism, how they elaborated with elaboration of the web eras. Without asking you to focus with detail, I can say that in this area we had the cases in which computers were used in the office to prepare the stories, the documents, and to publish them. But now we have mobile journalism, as I said before, multimedia journalism, data journalism, and also other types of interaction and engagement, which is the immersive journalism, in which we are using first-person storytelling experiences to tell a story. And of course, drone journalists can use in that direction by capturing all the associated data and serving it to the users. So here we have a great dilemma. There are some academics and researchers and professionals supporting that journalism has to be truthful, period, stop, nothing more. And some others saying that journalism has to be engaging as well, because if it's not engaging, audience won't follow these articles, this news. So it is pointless to write stories that now no one would read. This diagram has been taken of this book that I'm one of co-authors, and I have provided 2 links. I suppose we'll provide you with the slides somehow. And the upper link goes to the publication site, but this link goes to Google Drive location where we can download the material. So talking about audience engagement and new experiences, this is one of my favorite videos. Even in mainstream entertainment like cinema, theaters, we have new approaches.
13th Street, the channel for thrillers, horror, and crime. The challenge: the audience should experience horror as never before. The idea: the first interactive horror movie in theaters. In regular horror movies, the viewer's role is always the same. With 13th Street, the horror film becomes an interactive thrill. The viewers play their own part and are able to communicate with the protagonist. We developed a software that allows for such a dialogue via voice recognition. A flyer invites viewers to send their phone numbers to a speed dial database. The software selects an audience member and phones him or her. Then, through voice recognition, a dialogue between viewer and protagonist takes place.
Hallo? Hallo! Du musst mir helfen. Ich weiß nicht, wo ich hier bin. Bleib dran, ja? Ja. Okay.
The answers are converted into commands, and the software plays out the corresponding scene. Because of this, each caller creates a different film. Not only do the viewers hear the protagonist's voice on the phone, they experience her steps, her breathing, her entire figure up close and parallel with the film.
Links oder rechts?
Links.
Soll ich rauf oder runter?
Runter.
Hör zu. Da unten ist jemand.
Dann geh hoch.
Okay. Was soll ich tun? Soll ich Helfen oder weiter?
Weiter!
Helfen!
Geh weiter!
Jetzt bist du dran. Ich hab ja deine Nummer.
Scheiße. Wir brauchen neu.
So the idea is that all these examples that I saw you
Das Handy.
so far
The film hit it.
is that we're talking about interaction. We're talking about the aim of engaging audience. So at the end of the day, the audience, the user, will access an application through a graphical interface, which will be hosted on a remote server or mobile device. Each of them devices which have to have some processing power, some memory, some storage media, and some input outputs. But it is important for us now to understand how we can realize such productions, how we can assemble all the necessary tools in order to be able to, I think, okay, now it's better, how would be able to make the creation of a storytelling of a multimedia application. So the idea is to produce content, either audio, video, graphics, and so on, and also to create the interactions, to offer the interaction. So multimedia production is a combination of two main processes: software development and media creation. And this is the different part, the difficult part, because journalists do not usually possess development skills. And to be honest, nowadays there are not many tools that are intended for designers. For instance, for many years, Adobe Flash was a tool that a designer could use right-click on the mouse and visual communication in general in order to set up some interactions, some behaviors, and to produce some interactive application. Back in 2010, Steve Jobs said that I'm not planning to use Adobe Flash in my mobile devices. This was the beginning of the end for the Adobe Flash. Nowadays, Adobe kills the name Flash, has renamed the same product to Animate, with, of course, all the programmed updates that would happen either way. So we do not have tools that simple users can easily access, but if we look around, there are a lot of individual tools that someone can combine in order to tell a story through multiple media. This is an example of an article that I'm currently working. We can have some design tools, Canva, storyboards, and prototyping tools. We can have some audio and video editing software, and we can find a way to serve this application to the end users. In the specific case, it's an educational application. This is why you see Google Classroom here, but the idea of using reusable resources and assets is very frequent. And since we're talking about communication, and you are the expert of communication, more expert than I am, here we have a product, and this is how the customer explained it, how the project leader understood it, how the analyst designed it, how the program was written, how the business consultant described it, what the documentation was made to support the project, what operation installs, nothing, how the customer was built, how it was supported, and what the customer really needed. Okay, so from the beginning to the end, we have a chain of communication mistakes. So it is very important for you to have a role in this process, especially when we are talking about applications that lay on top of media. Okay, so here we have a screen that's saying what are the specialties usually encountered in a multimedia application. As you can see, there are not only technicians, producers, and programmers. We have also communication experts, subject matter experts, which is if I'm going to create an application for news, I would need a news reporter, a journalist, to guide me through the process. So it is important for you to have this role, to let's say fight for this role, to be part of related applications. And here we have some featured examples. We have the links here. The snowfall is, I think, is one of the most popular storytelling examples, and the firestorm. And here on the left side, it is a Greek production that one of us postgraduate students implemented using these two screens, these two initiatives as a source, as inspiration. So pretty much I have finished with the multimedia storytelling. I think we started about 10 past 3, so in my time, I think I have 10 more minutes, but if my colleagues want to stop, I will stop. I would like to share with you a few more slides concerning the use of audiovisual documents, of documentation files, and the fake news, which is very popular nowadays. But if you think I do not have the time, I will pass it by. I don't know.
I think that we can pass by to Ida, and then we can come back if there is a time for this information more, because we had like.
I cannot hear you because our microphone is open, and I think we have a echo situation. Please come again.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Sorry. I think that we can give the floor to Ida, and then we can come back if there is more time. Yes, thank you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. This was very useful for me as well, I must say, because my background is business marketing communications. I've been working in marketing agencies. I've been working for the telecommunication operator in the marketing department. And for the last 10 years, I've been also I'm an owner and a CEO of a marketing agency. As a specialty in the field, that as an expert, I'm teaching also as a professor at the University American College in Skopje, where I'm teaching internet marketing and digital communication and marketing psychology. So using this background that Professor Dimulas gave us, I will continue actually with two real cases that were done in our marketing agency. I want to present you how actually the main creative idea is created, and how afterwards is used to create different kind of content for different kind of communication channels, so we can reach the target audience that is in our interest, with different kind of messages, different kind of content, both copyright and visuals, so we can be relevant and interesting, and we can achieve our business goals. So I will share my screen right now, and just let me know if you're seeing it. Can you see my screen? Okay. I will just a short note I would like to give. I have two videos that I will present, and I have some issue with my headsets, so I will have to turn them off, switch to the laptop so you can hear the video, and then I will return to my headphones again, because it's easier for me to hear you and to speak like this. Okay, I believe it will not be an issue. When we are speaking from the point of marketing communication, when we are speaking about storytelling, actually we are thinking about content. What kind of content we have to create and to publish and to deliver to the target audiences in order that content to be relevant, to be interesting, to be entertaining, to give some kind of emotion, so that we can get closer to our target audience. Because when we are saying the things in the right way, then we can expect the other person to understand us. It's like friendship. When you know a person, you know how to approach and what to tell them. So it's very important when you're creating a marketing campaign and when you're trying to tell a story, actually to find the right way, the right place where you're going to send the message, the content, and then to find the right way how you're going to say that so the person on the other side can understand you and also can anticipate what you're saying and maybe motivate the person to have to make some kind of action, whatever we desire to do with the campaign. So content that we produce can come in different ways, as Professor previously was saying. They come from it can be a text, it can be a graphic design, it can be a 2D animation or 3D animation, it can be some kind of illustration as well, it can be video, it can be a photo. So any kind of combination of these we are using in order to produce this content so we can tell our story from the perspective of a brand. These are all different kind of types of content that we use for all the channels for communication that we are using. So we have the traditional channels like TV, radio, magazines, billboard, bus. Those are called traditional channels for communication. And then we have the digital channels for communication when we're speaking about web pages, blogs, web portals, social media, etc. So these are all kind of different types of content content that we use in order to tell our story. So how we are producing a content? First of all, we really need to know what is the main thing that we are trying to say in a very basic level. So we're not talking about some creative approach of interesting way of saying things, but really in our mind, what we are trying to say to our audiences and what we are trying to achieve from the business perspective. The second very important thing, and where actually everything comes out from it, is knowing who the target audience is, who they are, what our desires are, what they want to hear, what they need, how we need to approach them. So based on the audience, based on the customer, based on the person that we are trying to target, the people that we are trying to target, we need to define what kind of content we are going to deliver. Then we are picking up the most important keywords in order to make better search engine optimization. Then we are making actually the content, we are creating the content for different kind of communication channels. And you will see in my cases afterwards that it's not the same content. It's not always the same message that we are sending through different channels. We are changing the message, but we are staying, we still have the core message, but we are saying it in a different way. So here really comes the creativity. How do your main idea, how the main point that you have, the main message, the key message that you're trying to send, how are you going to say that, I don't know, in 20 different ways? So you're sending the same message, but you're not lame, you're not boring, you're not repeating yourself. So it doesn't look like you're kind of reposting and republishing the same thing. And of course, at the end comes measuring the results, saying what we have succeeded and what maybe we should do better in the next time. So the first case that I want to show you, actually the both cases I choose, let's say, smaller scope of campaigns, small size of campaigns in comparing when I'm speaking in the matter of budget and the activities. And I wanted to show you with these cases that when you have a good message, when you have a good idea, and when you create a relevant content, even though you don't have a high budget for sponsored posts, for ads, and for media buying, what we are calling, you can still make an impact because the message and the designs and the whole content that it's created, it's placed on the right channels in the right way, and therefore we have results because the target audience will respond to such content. So just shortly, the brief was, we're speaking here about NGOs, two NGOs from smaller cities in Macedonia that actually give support and free psychological and legal support to women who are victims of domestic violence. So our job was to inform local women, women living in the local area, but also general public that if someone is placed in such situation, there is a way out. There is a free support that these victims can use and actually can get help. So obviously, the target group were women victims who are of domestic violence, but also general public, because we never know who maybe have someone who is close to them or relatives, family members who are experiencing something like this. So anyone can actually having a knowledge about this kind of support can furthermore spread this information to a person who needs it. Whenever we are creating, a content, as I mentioned, it's very important to understand your customer, your target audience, your clients, your audiences, whoever you're actually speaking to. So what we understood, we did a little research, and the main insight about our target audience is that these women are actually very much ashamed, are feeling embarrassment. They have lost their self-confidence. And very often, these women are withdrawn, are quiet, are scared, and usually don't speak, not even to the close people, or to the close family members about the problem they have. So this was the main insight that we had, and from a position from which we took our main idea how we are going to communicate in this campaign. So we wanted to create a campaign, an emotional campaign that will, when you're seeing the content, when you're seeing the video, actually some kind of emotion you will get inside of you. Okay, sorry, this is actually wrong. This is not for here. I'm sorry, short mistake. So here actually we created a specially created landing page. Do you know what a landing page is? Anyone? Do you want me to explain? It's similar like a web page, but it's used when you have a specific campaign, when you have a specific message. It's a simple web page. Usually you don't have the menu. You have just one pager when you have the basic information about the topic that you are communicating. So actually when someone clicks on a link or on an ad that you have digitally, then this link takes you directly to the landing page where you see information that are important only to the ads that you show interest. So it doesn't show you all the other activities or information or products or whatever this brand has, like a web page, but it's only targeting information that are relevant to the specific campaign that we want to say. So this is called landing page. Then we used TV stations, and we did a video ad. We used billboard, peer activities, public events with moderator, promotions, influencers, printed materials and giveaways like gifts. And we used also local markets, and we did media buying at ads. So this is the landing page that we did. So I'm gonna click, I'm gonna stop my sharing, and I'm gonna share my screen in general. Are you seeing it now again? Yeah. So I'm gonna click here. So this is the landing page. And this is actually, sorry, because this is not translated, this is on Macedonian, but this is actually like a short questionnaire that we are asking these visitors where they're from, Are they feeling safe in the environment in their home, nearby their spouse, their partner? Are they feeling feared from their partner? Like, are they being beaten? Are they being frightened? Are they feeling limited seeing with their families? So anything that leads to a person being a victim of domestic violence. Have they ever asked for a help from a professional expert? And do they want to have do they want to get in touch with a professional who is actually going to help them and send? So actually, this was a way. And here we also have information about the NGOs who are doing this, and we have information about the campaign in general. But the first thing that they see is the short questionnaire, where we are actually kind of giving them a safe place where they can say that they have trouble in a very safe way, where they can ask for help. Um, this was actually very important because, as I mentioned, we believe that these women are scared and they're not willing to ask for help in such an easy way. So the promotional video that I'm going to show you right now, just a second to disconnect my Bluetooth devices. Disconnect. Okay. Are you hearing me now? Okay. Can you hear it?
Have you shared the sound?
We can hear you, but not the
I think
Something's wrong, right?
try to share again and tick the share sound option.
Wait, I cannot hear you at all.
You cannot hear me?
Just a second, please.
Yep.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I think you should go to the share screen.
But you cannot hear
the video. I think you haven't shared the sound. When sharing, there is a tick button, share sound. When pressing the share screen, the green arrow.
I can't hear you anything. I see that you're speaking, but can you see if it's working? Nope. Okay. There's a subtitle. Sorry for not being able to. You have the link to the video where you can see it online authentically. And since there is a subtitle, you will be able to follow. Sorry for the inconvenience about this. So I'm playing the video from the beginning.
Okay, I will have to switch again.
As I said, when you share again, try to see that there is a checkbox share sound. I think this was the error.
I'm going to the video settings, and when I go to audio.
No. In the Zoom, I mean, when you go to the Zoom to make a new share.
In the Zoom. When I'm going in the Zoom in the video settings.
In the share settings, when you go in the Zoom in the share settings, there is a button saying share computer sound. I think this is the checkbox that was not selected.
Maybe, I don't know, but okay, it works like this.
Never mind.
It's fine. I hope you got the idea. Sorry that it was not because it's more powerful, because as you mentioned, you know, when you combine the visual, the audio, because there is a music that goes, you know, that builds the tendency, the tension, the emotion, then the feeling by itself it's different. But you get the idea. This video was played on the was broadcasted on the TV stations, and also of course social media and YouTube. And what happened? So here are the billboards that we created and the main visual. So it says, yes, we're at home, we're okay, you know. And this all comes from the video commercial that we did. We decided that we need to do public events for the local women there. But again, because it's a very specific and it's a very delicate topic and issue that we are addressing here, we cannot just say, come and we will talk about if you're a victim of domestic violence. You know, you cannot just throw it out like that, because the target audience, maybe they will identify with it, but they will feel embarrassed, ashamed, fear, maybe someone at home are not letting them to go out and to visit a place like that. So what we did is actually during the Women's Day around March 8, we created 2 public events that were organized like a panel discussion. So you can see that the chairs are placed in circle and the moderator is sitting among them. Ognan Yaneski is a well-known journalist and activist and a person who is well-known. So he's sitting among them. And actually he started with issues and topics that are generally women sensitive, you know, are interesting to the women. But then during the discussion, actually, he started talking about domestic violence. So it was not upfront speaking about domestic violence and if you're a victim or something, but little by little, they got comfort in the situation. And then Ognan, the moderator, started speaking about the main issue. And amazingly, there were people who actually stood up and speak openly about issues, maybe about things that happened previously or hurt, you know, that's happened to someone close to them. I mean, even there was a lady who shared an incest situation, which we were really surprised that at an open event like this, will someone, you know, feel free to talk. But I think that the right approach is here that helped us make these women feel confident, you know, and safe, and to try and to feel allowed to speak. Of course, we had gifts for them, and actually, this cup for milk was, let's say, the main thing that we're giving, because the message was very strong. It's not really about the gift by itself, but it's really about the message that we are sending, that you should not wait to get to the bottom, but should react much earlier and, you know, find and ask for help. And also, due to the sensitivity of the topic, you know, we have this little pencil in a notebook, and we had a branded box that was actually circling around, and people and the audience were asked if they are not feeling free to speak loud, then they can write the question and put it in the box, and then the moderator wrote it, and it was read it, and it was part of the discussion as well. And also, again, there were people really writing questions and opening discussions through this way. So I'm giving this example because you should notice how we are using different approach for different activities that we are doing through the campaign, because we are thinking about our audience, what they need, what they want, how they will feel safe and free to anticipate the campaign, because that's our main goal. People to hear our message and to convert them, to make them respond to on our landing page. This was another approach that we used specifically for this campaign, because we're thinking, if someone is a victim, yeah, maybe she will not be allowed, maybe even to go out, to meet their friends, to visit their family members, but she will need to go shopping. She's a home lady, she's a domaćinka, how you say that, so it's her job to go and make shopping for supplies for home. So what we did, actually, we contacted in each of these cities the major supermarkets in the cities, and they let us to leave these specially designed, made by dimensions for the shopping carts, and they were placed over there. So even if she's not watching, I don't know, Facebook or TV, or not going outside on public events, she will go shopping. So we will reach this victim here. We did also very regular promotion with hostesses, with promo teams, delivering flyers and giveaways, the same that we had before, that I represented before. So this was just like a further activity in order to reach more people and to inform more people about this. People from the NGOs, we were arranging a lot of guest interviews at TV appearances in the most viewed TV shows and TV stations. So they were explaining how they're providing help, what kind of legal help, what kind of psychological help. And this is also very useful because a lot of people, especially these morning shows, before they go to work, they're listening to these morning shows. So actually also this kind of activity had a large impact on the target audience. Media articles. So do you know what to do if you are a victim of target of domestic violence, or we are here for you to provide help? These are the titles that you're seeing for those that you cannot read and understand. And then we did influencers, and we did them in a way that they had to make one picture of themselves when they're all happy and smiling and looking like very positive, and then the other picture that it's a little bit dark and depressing and sad. And actually, I'm not going to read the text because you can do it by yourself, but actually this is they're saying that there's always there can be two sides, reality and what we are representing to the other people. I'm going to the other one because actually, as I said, these women are kind of putting their happy face, their mask, and they will go outside and they will look like they're happy and smiling and everything is perfect, but they're actually suffering they're suffering violence at home. So we really have to be aware of this, and we use the influencers and their audiences so that we spread the message even more. So we had, I don't know, 7 or 8 influencers, I think, that we used, and it's their text. We didn't write those texts for them, but we gave them brief what we are trying to say. And the bottom part of the text, it's always a call to action, that there is a campaign, that there is a free legal and psychological support, and where they can actually find information about this. So what we did, what were the results? So we are talking about 500 visits on the landing page. We're very proud of every application that came. So maybe 15 applications don't look a lot and 8 scheduled appointments. But trust me, for us, this was a big deal because we were maybe, we were fearing that maybe we will have 0. Anytime during this 1 month of campaign, when we received an application, it was a great success for us, because in this kind of campaigns, even if you help to 5, to 1, to 2, women victims, then we have done our job, because they will spread the message afterwards. It's like word of mouth that works afterwards. And we had around 100 visitors on the public events, around 400 promo materials, these giveaways distributed. And this is the social media results. So 1.5 million impressions, which means that anything that we posted on social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, were saw by viewed 1.5 million times. Then we have 180 reach, which means unique people who saw our campaign, anything that was connected, any kind of content that was connected to the campaign. So we're talking about nearly 200,000 people that we targeted, 1,000 comments, and almost 100,000 video views on the video. So this was a great success for us as a campaign, because again, it's a very delicate topic that we're addressing, and it was a very limiting budget. So we couldn't do miracles, but still we think that by creating an emotional message, by creating a relevant message, finding the right channels that are relevant for those that we are targeting and saying it in the right way actually brought us the results back. Any questions, comments before I continue to the second case? No? Okay. So again, it's connected to the Women's Day, but it's totally different. I'm talking here in the second case, I'm talking about Skopje City Mall, which is the largest shopping mall. I think actually now we have bigger one, but it's a very well-known shopping mall in Skopje. And this was also a small size campaign. It was not like a very big campaign, but they wanted to acknowledge our brief was actually that we need to inform the target group and public in general that 1 week before March 8, there's a holiday shopping with discounts where actually you can buy presents and you can buy something for yourself as well. And also maintain and increase brand awareness that the mall is the place where you can find anything, but also the perception that actually the brand, the mall, cares for the customers and trying to understand their desires and needs, and they're always giving them what they want. So the target group were women in general, but also men, because we're expecting them to buy presents, for March, for the Women's Day. What was the insight? Actually, this is a holiday that lately in the last years, it's very disrespected by women, especially if we're talking about these urban, trendy, progressive women who are also kind of feminists, they're fighting for feminist rights. But the thing that you kind of get attention and presence only on this day, it kind of feels disrespectful. So we also respecting the holiday, but we are disrespecting how the holiday is celebrated, let's say. So this was the main insight from where we started building the content and building the main idea that we had for this campaign. And that was actually to create affirmative, motivating, positive messages that's going to boost women confidence. And we are not going to build one, but we are going to build many different communication messages. And we're going to run this campaign for 1 week before the holiday, and channels for communication on Facebook and Instagram, posts and ads, billboards, branding inside the mall, promotions, influencers. We did an activity, a corporate social responsibility activity that we did in cooperation with Intervention Women's Fund, which actually also working with women victims of domestic violence. We had peer articles, we had display advertising, so we had different channels for communication that we used. And in order to tell our story, you will see again how we created different content for different channels. So it's not just copy paste, we have one content and we're gonna spread the same content through our all channels, but we're gonna understand the target audience, we're gonna understand the specific of the channels that we are using, and then we're gonna adapt each of the messages for the specific channel. So this is the key visual that we used. Actually, you're gonna see that everything is with the same graphic design, it's the same layout, and we are doing this in this way because we want to have consistency. We want to have recognition. When someone sees a design from this campaign, will recognize that this is part of the whole campaign. So we need graphic design that provides consistency throughout the campaign or throughout the brand strategy maybe that we are implementing through the year, so that the brand becomes noticeable, recognizable, and that's how we build perception in customers' mind, through consistency. We used graphic design and approach, creative approach that is very trendy, it's very modern, it's very Instagrammable, let's say, because we see a lot of this, big typography, simple background, main message, and this is something that today it's quite trendy. So we used this approach for the whole campaign. So here the message is you look amazing today, and anytime, the bottom, the smaller font, the smaller message is actually the call to action that we are expecting them to come to the mall for the holiday shopping. These are the billboards, and we did actually, I don't know, 6 or 7 different of communication messages around the city. So you deserve the best. You look amazing today. Make yourself proud. You can achieve your goals. And then we are waiting for you on holiday shopping from 1st to 8th of March. These are the branding inside the mall. These are big size, like roll banners, like hangers. Smile, this day will be great. You look amazing today. Make yourself proud. You can achieve anything you want. Remember that. So we are using with the same messages you will say, but we are playing with words, with the call to action. We are adapting what we are trying to say to be relevant to the place where it's positioned. These are display video display positions they have in the mall. This is on the garage entrance. Smile, this way they will be great. So here we don't have a call to action because this person is already in the garage and they came. So we are give them a motivating story. These are the gifts. We did promotions. We give them these badges and flyers with invitations to come for the shopping. And we actually engaged 2 very good-looking gentlemen that were actually going around the neighborhood, around the mall, and were targeting, ladies, and we're inviting them to come to the mall and for a shopping experience. We also did Insta frames. So we have here BFFs, we have the best boss, we have the next president, the best mother, the trendsetter. So we had different kind of Insta frames. So a lot of visitors around the mall actually were taking pictures. So we get a lot of, as the professor mentioned before, we got a lot of user-generated content, which is very nice. It means when the audiences are actually publishing for you, they're tagging you, and they are creating content for you. And when someone is creating content for you, then that is even more relevant than when you're publishing for yourself. And this is the video that I'm gonna play for you now. Again, there's a subtitle.
Наистина имате прекрасни очи. Много сте убава. Останете таква. Наистина хубаво стои црвена боја. Преубаво изгледат. Много денес. Можам да го препознам вашиот ведар дух. Останете таква каква што сте и изгледате прекрасно. Навистина имате многу добар стил. Супер изгледате, да. Имате многу добар стил. Многу добро изгледате. Се примерно како се изгледаат генерациите што идат. Многу сте убава. Навистина многу убава изгледате денес, да. Многу сте убави сите три. Изгледате прекрасно денес. Имате многу убав стил и сте пример за помладите генерации. Навистина изгледате прекрасно. Навистина изгледаш прекрасно денес. Имате навистина многу убав стил. Многу изгледате. Навистина сте прекрасна. И го направихте виното со убав хубаве видов. Некоја фала ви се оценил.
Okay, so this was the video that you can see that it's not some high quality production, you know, with some settings, you know, lightings and makeup and stuff. This is done, this was shot like on, you know, like interview, like in a very natural way, because we wanted to present the experiences, the expressions, the smiles of the women when they receive the compliment. And these are actually the video comments. We get, these are just, you know, I don't know, 9, 10 that I took them out, but actually we got a lot of comments. And it's it's obvious that this is what we need, actually. We need some positivity. Everything, you know, everything is politics. It's something bad, you know, and people respond when something is positive and when something is nicely done. I'm not going to read all these comments. I think that you are doing it by yourself. I don't want to repeat, and in the respect of the time, I will continue. It's not just the comments, but people were sharing the video. And this is what is very important when we are speaking about digital marketing communication. The biggest advance is that we have a two-way communication, that we can have viral communication and marketing, speaking that people can reshare what we are publishing, our content. And we say that when we get shares like this, we are having earned media. So this is not something that we paid for as a brand, but we did something so right that we are motivating and inspiring people to continue sharing our story and telling our story by themselves, We didn't pay them, we didn't make them, we didn't call them to do it. They did it because they liked it. Of course, video shares, Instagram shares as well. Bravo, amazing initiative. These are the comments that I can read here, didn't translate it. Here it says, imagine what will be, how the world will look if every day we share this kind words to each other's, how world can be amazing place actually. We had peer press articles to a couple of web portals. These are HTML banners that we did in different dimensions for the web portals. It's called display advertising. That's the term that we are using in marketing communication. These are the Facebook posts. So we did a video. We have the main idea. But speaking of compliments, speaking of motivations, we can develop, I don't know, 100, 200, 500 different messages. So we are not repeating ourselves all the time with the same messages, but we found ways how we can say the same thing, you know, how we can motivate, how we can inspire, but with different messages. Also, what we did is we used the female employees of the mall, and we asked them to share motivational messages by themselves. And we did Facebook and Instagram posts with their motivational messages. And it's always good when we're using employees, because employees are one of the best ambassadors of a company, of a brand, or whatever. And also, when you're using individuals, each and every one of them has family members, have friends, you know, they're very proud of their friend that she's online and she's published, and they want to share, they want to comment, and you're kind of actually getting more engagement and more reach because you're using individuals, you know, that they have message to share. So this is a very strong tool, you know, using the employees, but just not using them, you know, they really need to have a purpose. Using it's not the right word, you know. So find a purpose and make them effective for your campaign. I think I found the right word instead of using. This is also like kind of the design that we did, like reminders on your phone, because we're always receiving these notifications and reminders on phones. So we did on our phones. So we did designs for Facebook and Instagram that look like that. This is Instagram communication. Some of the posts for there. I didn't publish all of them because it will be too much. This is how the feed look during the campaign. All inspiring. And we also used influencers that were actually promoting, they were focusing on the Women Intervention Fund for women victims of domestic violence. So we actually used the influencers to call their audiences to make a donation and to help, but also promote the campaign and the holiday shopping period in the mall. This is another influencer. This is the third influencer. She's yoga and power plate teacher, if I remember right. Yeah. So I will let you read those. I don't want to read them to you. So they all use kind of own wording, how they're going to promote the campaign and the donation. And the campaign results actually resulted with couple of comments like this. It says like, you go inside City Mall and you read giant message in front of you. You look amazing today. And it made me say, thank you, just like that, to no one, to the space. Such a great campaign for women. Nice gesture. And these are actually the results when that we got. So many positive feedback, comments, emotions, smiles, you know, this is all very positive sentiment that Skopje City Mall as a shopping mall created during this 1 week of campaign. It made a positive relation with their audiences. That is very important. So we have 250% increase in reach during the campaign for Facebook and Instagram. I'm talking here. Both Facebook and Instagram, we have around 1.5 million impression and 500,000 reach, 15,000 video views, and 40,000 interactions on social media, which means like, you know, comments, shares, anything that they did. A lot of views on Insta stories as well. And we got 64 Insta story mentions, which was also a very great result for us that we were happy with. So these are the two campaigns I had. I don't know how I'm with the timing. I was not following the time. I think I'm okay. No? Yeah?
We have like 10 minutes after the schedule, but I think that we can sum up, or I don't know.
I will have to switch to my...
Can you hear me?
I will in a moment, please.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, of course.
I mean, we have passed 10 minutes after the schedule, but I think that we can enter in conclusions and summarizing or open questions if some of the participants have.
Marika, for some reason, when we are talking, we have an echo. Do you hear the feedback by your...
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, it's better.
Yes.
Is there an possibility that your cable is loose and you hear the sound?
Yes, I cannot hear echo, but I think that now is better. So I think that
yeah, it's better now.
Yes, we can enter in conclusions and summarizing and the questions and answer session and part if the participants have some questions.
Feel free to ask us anything that you want to know.
I would like to ask if you think that it is possible to like do a campaign without any money. So if it is possible to do a campaign only in social media, do you think that would be successful? Like,
well, it is possible, and we are running campaigns only for social media. But that doesn't mean that you don't need money. Again, there is a way to create a campaign without budget, but you need a lot of enthusiasts around you they're going to help you. And even though, let's say, you know, publishing and using social media is free of charge, actually coming to that content, creating it, you know, just the idea, production of the content, it costs money. And then you need money to do the media buying, to make the sponsored posts, you know, to push that content so it's visible to larger audiences. Because as the algorithms of the social media are created at the moment, if you just publish it, it will remain in the closed circle of people who are anyway following your page. So you need budget in order to go outside, you know, and to target different audiences and to reach them. But if you have an amazing content, If you have an amazing story, that it's, you know how things go viral just like that. So if you have a story like that, if you have a content like that, maybe you need just 5-10 euros, to start the campaign, and then it goes viral, and it does the job. So it's the rule. When we are making the content for digital platforms, it's usually we are either creating sales content, that's how we are calling it, or we are creating relevant, entertaining content. So the rule is, the more, if the content is boring, usually sales content, you need more media budget to push it. When you're creating interesting, fun, emotional, relevant content, then you need less media budget, because comments, shares will do the job for you.
Thank you.
I hope you understand. I answer your question.
Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Anyone else?
You will share the presentations with us, right? Can you share it?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I will mail it to you, so you can mail to the rest of the participants. And thank you, Olia, Baji, and Beba,
Would you
for
like
the
to
comments.
upload it
Sorry.
here in the chat, or to send you through an email? I mean, for the presentation.
It is easier to send me through mail, and I will share with them as a package of all the modules until now. So please send me through email. Thank you.
Sorry, Ira, for overlapping you.
That's okay. I just wanted to say thanks to Olia, Baji, and Beba for the comments in the chat.
Also, thank you.
I'm glad that you found it informative and relevant for you.
Okay, if we don't have any more questions, we can close this module. Thank you a lot. It was really, really interesting. And I hope that the participants enjoyed as much as we from Blink 4221 and DCN Global as an implementators of the project enjoyed. And hope that we will have another opportunities to work with both of you. And big thanks to all participants for their interactions, and hopefully all the lessons learned will be used by them in their future working plans. Thank you once again. I'm wishing you all a great day, and we will share the presentations with you. The last module is scheduled for 14th of July. Thank you very much for everything.
Bye.
Thank you as well. Bye.
Bye. Have a nice day.
Have a nice day.